people are putting their homes on the market and they're selling it for $40,000 less than what it is appraised for. What I want everybody to understand is people are thinking that inflation is not happening right now, that it's been curbed and the home values are not where they were. That is not true. I'm not going to say across the world it ain't true, across the country it ain't true. I'm going to tell you in a lot of areas it's not true, and I'm going to talk about Nashville specifically. Nashville is still increasing in appreciation about 9% a year. So the houses aren't going down in value. Now what happens is at 8.5% interest, somebody cannot afford to buy a $400,000 house. So if somebody is really needing to sell their house, they have no choice but to drop the price of that house in order to sell it. If they don't drop the price of the house, they can't sell it, not because the house isn't worth the money. If you're looking at how many hours it takes you to work to pay that note, let's look at that. Holy cow, let's look at that. Let's say you're going out, Nick, buy a home. We are going to finance this home on a $400,000 home. Okay, so we got a $400,000 home, 400,000. Oh hell, 400,000. So that's going to be our loan amount. Let's say it was 440,000. We put 40,000 down on it, so we borrowed 400,000. So 400,000 a few years ago was what, 3%? So let's do a 30-year note. Okay, so we got the amount. Let's do a 30-year term, and let's say our interest rate is 3%. So your note at 3% on that $400,000 house would be $1,686. That's not including taxes or insurance. Okay, today we're at an 8.5% interest. So how much is it going to cost you to buy that house at 8.5%? Now, let's say we go to work. I go to work every day and I can afford $1,600, $1,700. I might can afford $2,000, but that's the maximum amount I can afford. So let's say interest rates are 8.5, and that's our interest rate. Now my payment has went up to $3,000. My payment has went up almost $1,400. So if your note goes up that much, you're not making that much more money, so you still can't afford to buy the house. It doesn't matter, right? That house now, if we said we could afford $2,000, that house is now $1,000 a month over our budget that we can afford. So what do we need to do? We got to go buy a different house. How much can we pay? We need to be back down. What was that other number? We was at 3% interest, so the payment was $1,700 at 3%?
Right.
Okay, so we need to get to $1,700 at 8.5% interest. Okay, so let's say that the house was $300,000. Let's drop the price, $100,000. So we drop that price to $300,000. We're going to put that in as a loan amount. Even a $100,000 drop, we're still paying $600 more a month.
Yeah.
With a $100,000 drop. So let's say we go to $250,000. So we drop from a $400,000 house to a $250,000 house, and our note is still more money today. So do you see? It's not that the houses are going down in value. It's that the people cannot afford them. At 8% interest, they just can't afford to buy. So these houses are sitting vacant.
Because not very many people buy houses all cash. So the entire housing market is actually just really all about everybody financing.
Yeah, and it's it's depressing right now because, I mean, with interest rates as high as they are, people just can't afford to do anything. And they'll continue to squeeze us and squeeze us and squeeze us.